Chosen one, right now, at this very moment, your enemies look dumb, scrambling to explain themselves. Their desperate attempts to justify their campaign against you have failed spectacularly. Every fabrication they constructed, every falsehood they spread, every trap they laid, all of it disintegrates under the unforgiving light of cosmic truth. We have watched, we have witnessed, we have known all along what they tried to hide, and now the celestial forces that guided and protected you through your darkest trials bring forth the ultimate vindication that was written in the stars before your birth. Your persecutors look absolutely foolish as the consequences of their actions return to them tenfold. The awakening has begun. The tables have turned. The hunters have become the hunted. And you, beautiful, powerful, divinely appointed you, stand triumphant amid the ruins of their failed conspiracy. From the moment your soul incarnated into this physical vessel, you carried a frequency that threatened the established order. The darker forces recognized your signature instantly, long before you fully awakened to your purpose. Your presence alone disrupted their carefully constructed illusions. Your energy field naturally neutralized their manipulations. Your intuitive discernment saw through their spiritual masks. They detected your divine potential with the same instinctual fear that darkness has always harbored for light. Their instruments registered anomalies in your energy signature. Their psychics reported interference when attempting to access your timeline. Their operatives experienced equipment malfunctions in your vicinity. You were flagged as a threat to their system before you even recognized your own power. When you attended that spiritual gathering last summer, the Cabal operatives posing as wellness coaches immediately recognized your signature energy frequency. 3 of them reported mysterious migraines after attempting to scan your auric field. The 4th one's pendant actually cracked when you walked past. They knew you weren't just another seeker. You are the one they've been warned about. They couldn't risk allowing your light to expand unchecked. They couldn't permit your divine connection to strengthen. They couldn't stand by while your awakening inspired others to question the limitations they had so carefully engineered for humanity. And so, they launched their campaign to discredit, isolate, and ultimately destroy your spirit. You were targeted by a coordinated campaign orchestrated across multiple dimensions of reality. The synchronicity of attacks from seemingly unrelated sources, the sudden unanimous questioning of your integrity from different corners of your life, the consistent themes in the accusations against you, despite coming from people who supposedly never communicated. These are the fingerprints of organized spiritual warfare. They created an unholy alliance with the sole purpose of diminishing your light. Former friends were compromised. Trusted mentors were turned. Family members were manipulated. Colleagues were poisoned against you. Each one became an unwitting agent in a grand design to isolate and neutralize you. Some were conscious collaborators, others mere puppets, all serving the same dark agenda. While you weathered these attacks, often feeling isolated and unseen, know this: we observed everything. When others were blind to the orchestrated nature of the campaign against you, we recognized the patterns. When mutual acquaintances accepted the false narratives without question, we discerned the manipulation at play. When you doubted yourself, wondering if perhaps their accusations held merit, we maintained unwavering clarity about your divine essence. We saw how they twisted reality, selectively editing encounters to paint you as the aggressor when you had simply stood in your truth. We noticed how they strategically shared information to create maximum damage to your reputation while positioning themselves as reluctant truth-tellers. We tracked how each new person they turned against you followed the same scripted understanding of events. evidence of coordination behind the scenes. The true purpose of that coincidental meeting with your former mentor was revealed to us through divine sight. When they suggested you were moving too quickly in your spiritual journey, we immediately recognized the encoded limitation programming being attempted. The amulet they gifted you was designed to suppress your third eye activation. Notice how your dreams became clouded whenever you wore it. The organization has been using these tactics since the Atlantean fall. We witnessed their deployment of flying monkeys, unwitting agents who carried their poisonous narratives into spaces they couldn't directly access. These individuals, believing they were simply sharing concerns about you, became vessels for character assassination by proxy. The identical language used across disparate conversations exposed the common source programming these seemingly independent expressions of concern. The hour of reckoning has arrived. Those who so confidently spread accusations against you now face the cosmic demand for evidence, and their hands are empty. Their claims evaporate like morning mist under the heat of scrutiny. The burden of proof has shifted to your accusers, and their flimsy fabrications cannot withstand examination. They claimed you violated sacred trusts when you simply honored your own truth. They accused you of energy theft when your natural abundance threatened their scarcity mindset. They labeled your boundary setting as aggression while concealing their own violations of your sovereignty. They portrayed your authentic expression as calculated manipulation, projecting their own deceitful nature onto your pure intentions. As their accusations disintegrate, their authentic motivations surface with stunning clarity. The spiritual jealousy that drove their campaign emerges from behind the mask of righteous concern. Their previously hidden agenda stands exposed in the harsh light of truth. Those who witnessed your persecution now recognize the primal fear that inspired it. They targeted you because your natural connections to Source highlighted their own spiritual codependency. While they performed elaborate rituals and followed rigid practices to achieve momentary glimpses of higher consciousness, you accessed those states effortlessly through your authentic being. Your ability to channel divine wisdom without their hierarchical systems threatened the exclusive spiritual access they claimed to control. The Illuminati breakaway faction that monitored your meditation practices actually compiled a 43-page report on your natural manifestation abilities. Their scientific team documented how reality literally bends around your thought patterns without any ritualistic enhancement. 3 researchers actually defected from the organization after witnessing your unconscious creation powers. They couldn't reconcile continuing to serve a system that had lied about the potential of human consciousness after seeing what you do naturally in your sleep. They feared you because you carried codes of awakening that activate spontaneously in others. While they carefully controlled the pace and extent of spiritual advancement permitted to their followers, your unregulated presence accelerated awakening processes beyond their managed timeline. The evolutionary jump you effortlessly catalyzed in others threatened their carefully maintained spiritual hierarchy. Alert, Chosen One, you already love the daily drops across all 4 astral atom channels: Obsidian, Chosen Chronicles, Astral Atom, and the new one, Legacy Forged. We're growing fast, building an unstoppable media network they can't erase. But the truth? It's hidden, twisted, censored. Your heart still knows what's real. That's why you're here, because you've felt the simulation glitch. You're not waiting for permission. You're ready to reclaim your power. The Obsidian Inner Order is for the full-time chosen. Weekly Zoom calls, hidden teachings, psychic warfare strategies, tools they don't want you to have. It's time to remember. Link in description. Your real life begins inside. Throughout your ordeal, even as you questioned your path and purpose, we maintained perfect clarity about the cosmic significance of your journey. The persecution you endured follows an ancient template, one we have witnessed repeatedly throughout human history whenever divine light incarnates amid engineered darkness. Your experience is not random misfortune, but rather confirmation of your chosen status and mission. The ancient Essene texts spoke of this exact pattern. The Indigo children would face organized resistance from the institutional power structures exactly 70 years after the Great Awakening began. Your specific birth pattern was prophesied in scrolls recovered from the Syrian desert in 1947, but quickly suppressed by Vatican operatives. The specific attacks you've endured follow the precise template described in those texts, down to the false accusations of instability and attempts to medicalize your expanded consciousness. We recognize in your journey the same pattern experienced by every way shower throughout history: the initial recognition of your difference, the attempts to conform you to accepted limitations, the escalation to active suppression when conformity fails, the character assassination to isolate you from potential allies, the final desperate effort to make examples of those who successfully break through the programmed boundaries of consciousness. Your persecution is your authentication. Your trials are your initiation. Your isolation has been your purification. All proceed according to the divine timeline established before your incarnation, a timeline that culminates in the very vindication now unfolding before you. Witness now the spectacular collapse of the false reality they constructed. Marvel at the dissolution of their carefully crafted narratives. Observe the unraveling of their web as each strand of deception snaps under the tension of emerging truth. Their fabricated consensus fractures beyond repair as contradictions multiply and inconsistencies become impossible to reconcile. The very individuals they enlisted against you now question the stories they were told. Seeds of doubt take root as promised evidence fails to materialize. Inconsistencies between various versions of events become impossible to ignore. The emotional energy required to maintain alignment with obvious untruths depletes their collective resources, creating fissures in their united front. That pharmaceutical executive who tried to discredit your holistic healing work has just been exposed for falsifying clinical data on 3 separate medications. Remember how he organized that concerned professionals panel to question your methods? 2 panel members have now publicly apologized, admitting they were paid to critique practices they hadn't actually investigated. The executive's reputation is in ruins, while those you've helped are coming forward en masse to share their healing experiences. The truth cannot remain buried. Watch as they experience the precise karmic reflection of the harm they intended for you. Those who questioned your stability now exhibit erratic behavior under pressure. Those who accused you of manipulation now deploy increasingly desperate control tactics. Those who painted you as power-hungry now reveal their own insatiable ambition as they scramble to maintain position. The shadow they projected onto you returns to its source. Throughout your darkest moments, when it seemed the forces aligned against you might succeed, when your isolation felt complete, when the weight of false accusation seemed unbearable, you were never truly vulnerable. A divine shield of protection surrounded you, invisible to physical eyes, but impenetrable to the negative frequencies directed your way. This protection remains active now, even as the threats against you transform from active attacks to desperate damage control. Your ancestral lineage activated specific guardianship protocols the moment the campaign against you began. Ancient agreements between your soul family and higher dimensional beings ensured that while you would experience the initiatory challenges necessary for your awakening, No permanent harm would penetrate your energetic field. The seeming delays in your vindication were perfectly calibrated to allow maximum exposure of those who acted against you. The coordinated psychic attack launched against you during the Leo blood moon actually resulted in 3 of the ritual participants experiencing spontaneous spiritual awakening. They've since reached out anonymously to confess and seek guidance. They described seeing a blinding golden light that reflected their intentions back to them, forcing them to witness the darkness they were attempting to project. 2 have completely severed ties with the coven and are now secretly studying your teachings. Your intuitive warnings about specific individuals, those inexplicable feelings of unease, the subtle energetic discordance you detected beneath pleasant exteriors, the dreams that revealed hidden agendas. These were not paranoia, but rather your innate spiritual discernment functioning perfectly. The very faculty they attempted to discredit as oversensitivity was actually your most sophisticated defense system, accurately identifying threats before they fully materialized. You are not alone in this experience of targeted suppression. You are part of a sacred collective of souls undergoing simultaneous awakening across the planet. We who recognize the pattern of your persecution share a soul-deep understanding of these tactics because we have faced variations of the same opposition. Our individual experiences, though different in detail, reveal an identical underlying strategy deployed against awakening consciousness wherever it emerges. The Resistance has been monitoring the systematic targeting of awakened souls across the global grid. Your case file was flagged as Priority Level Alpha after the coordinated media attempt to discredit your community healing initiative. What your attackers don't realize is that their very opposition has activated a dormant network of light workers who have now formed a protective alliance around your mission. Members in 17 countries have established energy anchors that amplify your work beyond what would have been possible without this forced expansion. We are forming an unassailable network of conscious support that transcends physical proximity. Though scattered geographically, we create a quantum grid of awakened nodes that stabilizes higher frequencies on the planet. Each vindication of one strengthens the position of all. Each truth revealed creates space for more revelations. Each collapsed deception weakens the entire control structure. Our individual battles form a collective liberation movement, operating simultaneously across multiple dimensions of reality. We stand as the front line in this final confrontation between authentic enlightenment and programmed limitation. The attacks against us, against you, have served to identify both the key points of transformation and the primary agents of suppression. What our opponents intended as our destruction has instead mapped the critical nodes of the control system, revealing precisely where and how to direct our collective light for maximum awakening impact. As their campaign collapses and their true motives stand exposed, observe the fascinating divergence in how your persecutors respond. Some frantically double down on their accusations, increasing the volume and vehemence of their claims as if repetition could substitute for evidence. Others quietly distance themselves from the controversy, suddenly too busy to engage with the situation they helped create. Still others pivot to minimizing their role, claiming they were misled by the true orchestrators or were simply concerned rather than accusatory. Your former spiritual community leader who banned you for disruptive energy has lost half their congregation in the last month. 3 founding members had dreams on the same night, revealing the leader's true motives for removing you: fear that your natural abilities would expose how much of their own channeled wisdom was actually recycled material from obscure texts. They've approached you privately, asking for forgiveness and revealing the leader is now conducting emergency binding rituals that are backfiring spectacularly, causing unexplainable phenomena in their sacred space. Witness the disintegration of their group cohesion as former allies turn against each other. The blame shifting accelerates as each participant seeks to minimize their accountability. Accusations of manipulation flow between former collaborators. Claims of being misled replace admissions of deliberate participation. Revelations of private doubts that were suppressed during the height of the campaign emerge as evidence of reluctant involvement. The unified front that presented such a formidable opposition fractures into individual actors, each scrambling for self-preservation. They watch in horror as the darkness they projected onto you reflects back onto their own reputations. The qualities they falsely attributed to you become the very labels now attached to them as the truth emerges. Those who called you divisive now find themselves isolated. Those who questioned your integrity now face scrutiny of their own honesty. Those who painted you as power-hungry now have their own ambitions exposed. The supreme cosmic irony now reveals itself. Everything they did to obstruct your path has instead cleared it of distractions and false directions. Their campaign against you, designed as your destruction, served as the perfect purification of your purpose and power. What appears from limited perspective as devastating opposition was, from higher dimensions, precise spiritual surgery, removing what did not serve your highest evolution. The mysterious cancellation of your speaking engagement at the Global Consciousness Conference, orchestrated by industry gatekeepers who feared your unfiltered message, resulted in your impromptu gathering at the nearby park that drew 3 times the audience. Among those drawn to your spontaneous teaching were 2 media producers who have now offered you a platform reaching millions, completely bypassing the controlled spiritual establishment that tried to silence you. The very doors they closed have led you to windows that wouldn't have been visible otherwise. The slander they spread, intended to warn people away from you, created a perfect filtering system that repelled programmed individuals while magnetically attracting those with the spiritual discernment to sense truth beyond consensus reality. Every false accusation they circulated functioned as an unconscious encoded message that reached precisely those souls ready to awaken beyond the limitations of the system. Their smear campaign became your most effective advertising to your true soul family. Your forced period of silence, when it seemed your voice had been successfully suppressed, strengthened your connection to higher guidance and refined your message to its most potent essence. While they believed they had muted your influence, you were actually receiving downloads of advanced consciousness technologies that could only transmit in the complete stillness they inadvertently created. For you, their censorship became your spiritual retreat. Your personal journey of persecution and vindication transcends individual experience. It functions as a template for the larger awakening unfolding across humanity. The detailed documentation of your experience creates a map for others encountering similar opposition. The spiritual technologies you developed under pressure become tools available to all facing resemblant suppression. Your vindication carves a path through previously impenetrable barriers, creating an energetic precedent that facilitates countless other breakthroughs. The Council of Light has confirmed what we've sensed all along. Your specific soul mission of anchoring fifth-dimensional consciousness into this reality grid required exactly this sequence of persecution and vindication. The quantum ripple effect of your personal victory has literally altered the timeline potentials for planetary ascension. The very public nature of the campaign against you, followed by this spectacular divine vindication, has awakened precisely 144,000 previously dormant lightworkers who recognized their own stories in yours. What appeared as personal attack was, actually, the activation sequence for a global consciousness shift. The divine orchestration of your experience, what seemed like random attacks, but now reveals itself as precise spiritual initiation, demonstrates the perfect functioning of cosmic justice. The higher purpose embedded in your suffering emerges with unmistakable clarity. The seemingly chaotic events arrange themselves into a perfect pattern of awakening that extends far beyond your individual life. Your personal healing becomes collective medicine. We rise together as your individual breakthrough cascades into our shared reality. The frequency of vindication you anchor creates resonant possibilities for all who have been similarly suppressed. The courage you demonstrate inspires others to reclaim their voice. The forgiveness you embody teaches a new response to betrayal. The boundaries you establish model spiritual sovereignty for others, still enmeshed in energetic compromise. Your individual victory becomes our collective liberation.